Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of the RobCast podcast. I'm Robert, and here with me today, I have my producer in the house, Joshua.
Hi.
Today we'll be looking into The World's End, the final movie in the so-called Cornetto Trilogy, or the Blood and Ice Cream Trilogy, as it is known in other places.
Agreed.
But before we hack into this final movie of this so-called franchise, what about the news for this week?
So we did get a couple little tidbits of news. The first of which is that Evan Peters will be in WandaVision. Mm-hmm. Evan Peters, who played Quicksilver in the Days of Future Past trilogy, or whatever the hell that thing was.
Weird.
Well, it was
X-Men sequels that weren't sequels.
Days of Future Past was good.
Reboots.
Yeah.
Unpopular opinion, Days of Future Past might be my favorite X-Men movie.
I don't think it's unpopular.
Just because I love time travel.
Yeah.
Like, time travel is just my thing.
It's a very good movie.
It's just so cool.
Yeah, for sure.
First Class is also really good.
Okay, wait. Yeah, agreed. First Class is like back when I was like really, like when I first started really getting into superhero movies. I watched it like 5 times. It was the best. Yeah, so wait. It had First Class, which technically is the first one, quote unquote. Yeah. Days of Future Past.
Which kind of tried tying that together.
No, Days of Future Past was first. First Class came after, no?
No, First Class was the first one.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Then Days of Future Past.
Which is a sequel to that, kind of. And
then X-Men Apocalypse.
X-Men... Wait.
Is that an actual movie, or did I just make that up? No,
sounds like it's a...
No, X-Men Apocalypse
yes, a real one.
With Oscar Isaac as a blue dude was third, and then Dark Phoenix.
Dark Phoenix. Are we missing any?
No.
Is there like a bad one where we just all forgot?
No, those are all the ones with Fassbender and McAvoy as Cheech and Chong.
Mm-hmm. They're great. I love them.
Oh, they're fantastic. Yeah.
I would be fine with having them both come back.
Like in what? In MCU?
Yeah, like honestly, like I grew up with them kind of being like, of course the original actors will always be like amazing, but I love Fassbender in that role. It's just amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, agreed. They're very good. And more to Evan Peters' role in WandaVision. Unfortunately, he won't be reprising his role as Quicksilver in some sort of multiverse thing. Yeah. Reportedly, he's going to be playing a villain. And I think it is debated that his role does have something to do with the multiverse, but he's not playing Quicksilver, unfortunately. Woo! Apparently, this random Twitter account reported that he's likely playing Mephisto. Interesting.
Oh, so the potential villain of Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be cool. Just a little cameo and then kind of bringing that back in, because reportedly, those two shows have a lot of connectivity, and apparently that will be like, those two things would be the big game changers in the MCU moving forward.
Yeah, really. Very interesting.
Exciting.
Well, yeah, he's basically this big demon dude who has all sorts of magical powers and whatnot. Oh, and he was actually in Ghost Rider too. Very interesting. Mm-hmm. As a villain, presumably. I actually haven't watched Ghost Rider.
Yeah, I'm still working my way through Daredevil still, but I have to...
Oh yeah, have you finished season 1?
I'm on season 2. I'm about halfway down.
Nice. It's really good. Yeah, so interesting to see that. Evan Peters is a good actor, from my knowledge. So
yeah, I like him in those roles. Like I feel like after the first one, Days of Future Past, they didn't really know what to do with him, but
he was great. Yeah, 100%.
I like kind of like his kind of teenager, don't want to do anything, but like I'm too fast for all this. It was a very different take on a speedster, like because over time Barry Allen, the Flash, has been rolling out with because the Flash is now stupid.
Garbage show.
It is now
first 2 seasons are really good, but then they got awful, borderline unwatchline.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'd be interesting too because
the X-Men movies borderline.
I haven't watched Jean Grey there, Phoenix, but I did watch Apocalypse in the theaters.
And we will never watch New Mutants as. Never, ever.
Well, as much as we might want to. Yeah, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see because Mephisto's is a drastically different role than Quicksilver. So, congrats to him, Evan Peters. If you're listening, tweet us at RobCast Podcast 1 on Twitter, and yeah, the second little nugget of news,
and the notably larger, huge nugget of news
to you and to us perhaps, is that J.K. Simmons has a additional 2-picture or 2 sequel contract to appear in the MCU aside from his Far From Home appearance. So that's very good.
It's very exciting. Do you think it's because obviously it's Spider-Man 3, the third Tom Holland Spider-Man movie, but I wonder if he could be in some sort of cameo. Like, what do you think J.K. Simmons fits in the MCU lineup?
Well, when asked whether fans should expect Jameson to return to Spider-Man 3, Simmons replied, "I don't know if I would use the word expect, when we signed on for the first movie, we signed a contract to do 2 sequels as well, which is always a one-sided contract where you're committed to do it, but they're not necessarily committed to use your character in the ensuing movies. So it was great to have the opportunity to return as these things evolve to be one of the holdovers from the previous version. I definitely think of being Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
And I would love them to be like interspersed throughout the MCU, kind of as that New York news source. It's kind of like anti-superhero or whatever.
Yeah, like kind of in the way Louise was kind of like they wanted him to like kind of wrap up the entire MCU Louise from Ant-Man.
Oh yeah,
like maybe you can do like because like I can see him kind of pop in and out of like
it'd be cool.
Bucky Winter Soldier, Falcon Winter Soldier.
Yeah, like
TV series kind of like
Bucky Barnes is a war criminal
again. For the second time.
Yeah,
he was, and then he wasn't, and then he was.
It's a massive threat to American justice, American beauty, American peace. It needs to be stopped right this moment.
Now look at this other Captain America, the cool new Captain America.
Yeah,
I definitely think that's an opportunity because the government's taking control of kind of the Captain America legacy, and that show from what we've seen from set photos and the trailer.
Sure. What trailer? The
Super Bowl trailer. Yes. I definitely feel that he could kind of fit right in. If this contract is different between TV and movies, it maybe so.
What do you mean? Well, I think even those Netflix shows or Disney Plus shows are going to be much more integrated than Daredevil and the other stuff ever was.
No, I mean contract wise.
Right. Yeah. That's a fair point. It's a fair point. You never know.
They have stated that those shows will directly tie in the MCU more than Daredevil will ever. Unfortunately.
Yeah, but those are, I guess, the 2 nuggets of news we have for today. A little MCU kiss in the cheek. So why don't we hop into our main attraction today, World's End, the delightful Edgar Wright movie starring Simon Pegg and the other dude who's in the other 2. Nick Frost. Yes. And we'll hop into that right after these brief messages.
RobCast is brought to you by Anchor, the easiest way to make a podcast. Anchor is a podcasting app that's free, where you can create and record your podcast right from your phone or computer. And Anchor will distribute your podcast so it can be heard on many platforms such as Spotify and Apple Podcast. You can also make money with your podcast with no minimal listenership, which is good for me because barely anyone listens to this. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Anchor, syncing good podcasts one after another. Hey, good slogan. Just made that up on the spot. They should pay me extra for that.
Welcome back. So as Joshua stated before, we are going to be talking about The World's End here today.
It's going to be with fire and brimstone. Volcanoes going to explode. And crows from the sky are going to come down and puncture our eyes out. The sun's going to explode. We're all going to die. So that's The World's End. Yeah, we're prophesizing. The world will end.
It's a very, recent topic here, seeing how the world's ending around us currently.
Yeah.
But anyway, this movie came out August 23rd of 2013. It seems like it's kind of an older movie. 2013 is only like 7 years in the past.
Right, but it's kind of in that sweet spot around when like Avengers and Iron Man were released, 2008, 2013-ish. 13-ish, when movies still had some charm, but special effects got like a lot better.
Yeah.
And then anything post 2015 is just garbage. But
well, of course, there's a few exceptions, such as like Mad Max, and especially in the kind of.
No, I'm just being generalizing, of course.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But people will tweet us being like, "Oh, I love this movie that came after 2015."
We kind of want them to tweet us though, because we have 0 engagements aside from Tragino Windsor, who blocked us.
Yes, Tragino Windsor, public enemy of.
Tragino Windsor is canceled officially. She's banned from the RobCast.
As we said before, this movie was directed by Edgar Wright and, of course, written by him and Simon Pegg. It did actually fairly well in the box office, doing $46.1 million with only a budget of $20 million. So it made its budget, but is definitely doubled its budget, but it's definitely not compared to what Hot Fuzz was with, I think it was $90 or $100 million.
So it didn't do as well.
Yeah.
What did Shaun of the Dead do again? Like, it did pretty well, right?
Yeah, 90 to 100 million.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sorry.
But as usual, we are going to be playing a little game today, Joshua. Are you familiar with this game?
Solitaire.
Yes, we're gonna be playing solitaire on podcast.
Excellent.
No, but as always, as we do with all of our movie reviews, we try to guess the IMDb summaries.
Yes, of
and
course.
We always get it horribly wrong.
It's so strange.
Okay.
I don't know.
So, would you like to go first, or should I?
You can go first.
Okay.
I'll give you a scout's honor.
Gotcha. Gary King.
That's it?
Gary King, period. Gary King reunites with his high school friends to do a legendary pub crawl. But when they go back to their old town, things aren't what they seem.
Okay, cool.
Yes. I feel like I got somewhere. Like
Sure.
I
you looked at it beforehand, so.
No, I have not. I never cheat. My change is word for word.
Yeah. Wow, Rob, that's impressive.
I got it right. Whoa.
Okay. So Gary King's what was it again? Gary King's reconnecting with his high school friends.
Gary. What was it? Gary King reunites with his high school friends for a legendary pub crawl, and they go back. A legendary pub crawl in his hometown, but things aren't what they seem.
Okay, cool. A man's attempt to reconnect with his old high school friends uncovers a small town's hidden secret. Pretty basic.
It sounds like you kind of cheated there.
Nah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, would you like to read the IMDb summary?
5 friends who reunite in an attempt to top their epic pub crawl from 20 years earlier unwittingly become humanity's only hope for survival. I think you got that one.
Yeah, because I mentioned pub crawl.
You mentioned reunite too.
Yeah, reunite, pub crawl, 5 friends.
Nice.
I think I got that. Wow, I actually won one. Fair and square.
Good job.
Cheating. Nice.
Congratulations, you're now a host.
I now host my own podcast. I'm so happy.
Excellent.
No, but this movie is basically that,
Well, yes, generally movies do tend to be like the summaries.
No, but on Rotten Tomatoes, it had a critic rating of 89% and an audience score of 71. What would you rate this movie?
Like the same as Top Gun or whatever, or Hot Fuzz, whatever it's called. I think I had them around like 7.8 or something.
7.8?
7.9. Okay. Yeah, I think around that. Like an 8. 7.5 to 8.
I would say kind of the same. Like I had around like kind of high 8s and not like high 8s, low 9s.
That's not the same, but okay.
High 8s, low 9s.
I said 7.5 to 8.
No, I said I had it around.
Oh, okay. I thought you said I had it kind of like the same. I don't know.
Wow.
Anyways, but
would you say that this movie's better than the previous two, or no?
So I was thinking about that. I would put this one and Hot Fuzz. I would definitely put it above Shaun of the Dead. Mm. I think I really like this one. I think I might put it like as the best one, either this one or Hot Fuzz.
See, which is kind of funny because like I also had that kind of inclination that this one like might be my favorite.
Yeah.
But this is actually like considered to be the worst one because this is like kind of a far adventure from the other two. Basically, there's a long-winded story about the production and past of this movie that kind of derailed Edgar Wright making his own kind of solo films with Simon Pegg.
Oh, really?
Basically, they did the first two together, and they were loved as cult classics.
Right.
They were smash hits, and then Edgar Wright went off and did Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, which we have both seen. Mm-hmm. And I feel like a lot of Scott Pilgrim kind of finds itself into this third installment. And the kind of the fight scenes, and that's kind of dynamic, and it's kind of lack of something that Shaun did really well, which was incorporating the music in kind of...
It doesn't have that?
No, it doesn't. The World's End doesn't. And I feel like just like kind of the humor and tone shifted for more kind of American audiences and kind of a larger basis. And it wasn't really this contained British cult classic, which the previous two were. Which is great for us who aren't British. We actually really enjoy it this way, and we find it more appealing. But back in the motherland of Britain, I don't know why I called it motherland, but but they didn't find it as well. And it definitely shows in its box office performance.
I guess. Like, I understand they might not have some of the subtleties of the other two, and it might be like on a bigger scale, like you mentioned, but it is pretty similar in terms of like a lot of the elements. Like it is.
It isn't a complete venture off, but
No, it's pretty similar. Like they're all about like a small town with a secret at the end of the day, right? Pretty much, and it's Edgar Wrighty too, and it does have some music synchronization, like in the opening scene where like they're at the like they're back where they show the initial like pub crawl when they're all teens and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like it has that quick cut, like the music's playing, they're all doing things.
It isn't like when I said that, it's more just like natural music from the world creeping into. For instance, in Shaun the Dead, they had the jukebox going random.
Yeah, the Queen song.
Don't Stop Me Now played. This movie didn't have any yet, but speaking of the opening, I feel like it's a very good opening. Like as soon it gets you right off the gate with kind of this narration by Gary King, which turns out to be him in some sort of hospital or
Alcohol Anonymous, right? Something like that.
Something like that, like a group therapy.
Yeah,
and I feel like this is really good. Opening to his character, like we see who Gary King is, just like someone who wants to have fun. And this definitely you see it by the opening song, Loaded by Primal Scream.
Yeah. And somebody that kind of looks upon these past memories super fondly. As I said in the notes I took while I watched the movie, it succinctly sums up the essence of the character and sets the stage for the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically, you're introduced to this character, you know exactly who you are, what his motivations are, and what's supposed to come forward. I also was confused at why these high school kids were drinking a ton and how they just randomly left their friend in a bush.
Yeah,
it's quite interesting.
Gary's definitely not the best friend, but neither were we back in high school.
Well, I mean, I was a pretty good friend.
I left you in a bush that one time. Remember?
Yeah. Well,
you don't remember, but I did.
I was pretty sure you drugged me, so I have no recollection of that week.
No,
that bush where I lived in a bush. It's bad. That's a bad bit. Continue.
Yeah. Well, basically, we can see definitely that definitely carries over when Gary's trying to convince all of his friends to come on this pub crawl with him.
Yeah.
Because they're just like, should we? Like, we're incredibly stupid for doing this.
Yeah. It's pretty interesting, too, how he and Andy, Nick Frost, his name's Andy in the movie, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, they play like drastically different roles than they do in the other two like Cornetto Trilogy movies.
Yeah, and I feel it's also like, so as I was saying before, kind of they venture off. They're not like the best buddies or kind of learn to be friends.
Well, they're are.
No, they're
by the end.
At this point, they're just constantly at odds.
Right.
They're fighting a lot. It's a very different dynamic than we see.
Which I kind of liked. It was really I liked it. It was it added a little flavor there, and it's funny because like you said, usually like. Simon Pegg plays a straight man to like Nick Frost's like man child or whatever, but in this role they kind of switch where he's the Andy is the straight man and
Simon Pegg, he's amazing in this. Like I loved it. Like,
yeah, he's really good.
Like it wasn't like it was very it was much heavier, like kind of swearing and kind of more adult
vulgarity
humor
type thing. Yeah,
but I don't know, like just. I like kind of his character in general, just someone who's stuck on this idea of wanting to have a fun time and wanting to be free, wanting to do what he wants to do when he wants.
Yeah.
Like he has that high school mentality that the whole world is up for him, and now that he's pushing 40 and he doesn't have anything, it's really, as you said, sets the stage for this entire movie.
Yeah, the writing is good too because they do really well where they make you like realize why he's unlikable. Like he's not a very likable character, but he's still like the driving force of the movie. It's kind of like a Tony Stark thing where Stan Lee sought out to create this hero that was unlikable and nobody would like.
Yeah, I like Tony Stark.
Yeah, obviously, eventually, because you see the character development, and obviously the movies are different than the comics, but yeah, you see he's an unlikable character. It's like, why are these people even humoring this crazy alcoholic? He also kind of looks like the dude from the Breakfast Club with his like long black cloak.
Yeah. I definitely noticed that.
I have to rewatch that because like I'm pretty sure I only like retained 20% of it from watching it in my high school French class. So yeah. Anyways.
Was it in French? Is that why?
No, our teacher just randomly showed us movies. It was the best thing ever. I love that class so much.
My French class was horrible back in the day. No, but I really feel like, as you're saying with his costume in the movie, it's like everyone else when they grow adults, they're all in suits, they're all in business attire. They really changed. Gary King is the one that hasn't really changed at all.
That's true, and that's kind of to his detriment too, right? Because like we see throughout the movie, he's still a child. He hasn't, like you said, moved on at all. All of his friends has. The town clearly has, as we'll get into a little bit later, but He's like I said, he's this man child. He hasn't. The only way he's been able to cope is through alcoholism.
Should we take a quick break and then we can get back into it?
Sounds good to me.
I think throughout this movie there's a very strong theme of change
Chang?
Yes, of Chang.
Oh,
Senior
okay.
Chang.
Yes, of course.
But of change or lack thereof in Gary's case, because Gary's a perfect representation of what is known in the film community as a flat character arc. Basically, a regular character arc is like when you have a lie and a truth. Something they believe in the beginning of the film, which is disproven, and something they believe in the end of the film, which you come to that belief.
Mm-hmm.
So, for instance, Iron Man's kind of quest in Iron Man 1 as through kind of a selfish billionaire to someone who realizes his mistakes, the truth, that weapons do hurt people, and that he becomes the savior and guardian that is Iron Man.
Sure.
But in this movie, Gary has a flat character arc. He already knows the truth, or his personal truth, which is he wants to have a good time, he wants to have fun, he wants to be free, and this just ends the world, pretty much. He starts the apocalypse because of this truth.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like the whole movie centers around change. If it's change in the town, change in his friends, everything is telling Gary that he needs to change, that things change, that things are going to change, but Gary stands by his beliefs and doesn't change.
Right. Even by, so obviously he has that pretty like cathartic what? Give me a look. Obviously he has that pretty cathartic exchange with Andy while they're like fighting at the end, where they kind of yell out their like trauma and yeah, basically. But so do you think that he changes by the end of the movie or at all?
I think he finally. Okay, so the beginning of the movie, when if we go back to the therapy scene, where fun fact, the girl sitting beside him is the zombie from the Shaun the Dead, the girl in the garden.
Oh yeah,
yeah, it's the same actress. But
that's pretty funny.
But one of the guys goes to him and asks him if he's disappointed about not being able to make it to the world's end. And we can see like the cogs start to turn in his head. But I feel like at the end, even though he didn't get the last drink, he's okay, and that he is finally moving on from that. Like he's finally able to kind of move forward. And in the end, when he goes to the bar, he asks for 5 waters. So maybe he's moved on his dependency on alcohol and drugs and started his own life.
So yeah, it's even that he's let go of that. What was driven him for so long was his past life in high school, and he idealizes that like moment where he's sitting and he's like, "Oh, life will never get this good." Mm-hmm. After that like pub crawl with his friends, I think by the end of the movie he's let go of that. He's still the same guy, wants to have fun, wants to have a good time, but he does it not necessarily in a healthier way, because he randomly takes out a sword and starts chop sueying people. Yeah. But he's let go of his past. Basically, he's focusing on the present and the now, I think. Mm-hmm. And I think his alcohol dependency or lack thereof at the end of the movie kind of shows that too, where he's let go of trying to cloud his mind and he's focusing on the present, focusing on his life, moving forward.
Mm-hmm. Either that or maybe he's just very dehydrated and he wants some water.
Perhaps. Mm-hmm. Can we talk about the end of the movie?
We'll get there. We'll get there in due time. I just want to talk about the pub crawl a bit. You know?
Sure.
So, he gets together the 5 musketeers, as he dubs them.
Sure. Very original.
I think that's a hilarious bit.
I mean,
and he even predicts that.
Sure.
He predicts that 2 of them are gonna die, and he says, 5. Anyway, 5 sounds much better. I think they missed a trick only having 3. Because if they had 5, they could have been able to kill 2 and still have 3 left. In the movie, they have 5. They kill 2 of them.
Yeah.
He and Oliver, and they have 3 left.
Yeah.
And I feel that's kind of
that's
very
funny.
Smart.
Very Edgar Wrighty.
But I feel like kind of Gary King's most of the comedy comes from his not being able or not knowing, and kind of his selective memory, which they do bring up a few times.
Yeah. Many times.
He thinks the Bible is wrote by Jesus.
Yeah. Well, he's kind of this aloof, kind of lovable idiot type guy, right? He's like, I don't care. So yeah, no, he has a couple of funny little kisses on the cheek.
But they move forward to the pub crawl, and the pub names are actually very interesting because,
oh boy,
like Edgar Wright, for instance in Shaun the Dead, when Ed was telling Shaun what they're gonna do tomorrow, it was actually the plot of the movie. It's first of all, a Bloody Mary in the morning, and we really go into it in the Shaun of the Dead podcast, so listen to that one if you haven't. But basically, each of the pub names represents kind of what stage they are in the movie. For instance, the first post represents, of course, the first gathering and the kind of sign off of the journey. Finally, course correcting themselves in this direction where they're going to be going. The Old Familiar, when they get to the first bar, it is so-called modernized and starbucked. So when they get to the second bar, it's also starbucked and refurbished. Starbucking it, man, it's the same bar. Which I thought I died when I was like, wait, I'm like, did I actually go back in the movie?
Yeah, I know. It was a funny moment.
So the Old Familiar is basically the exact same bar. The famous cock, Gary finally gets recognized as
quote unquote.
Yeah, recognized by the bartender, and he's been banned for life. So he gets kicked out of the bar.
Oh yeah, right.
And I feel like this is actually a really good example of that how deeply rooted Gary is wanting to kind of finish this, because he sees 3 half-empty beers outside and he drinks them all and continues on his way because he's so consumed by this idea that he needs to get life as good as it was that night.
Yeah.
The fourth one, Cross Hands. So this is when they first realize that, robots have taken over New Haven in an epically awesome fight scene. Like, honestly, like this is a step up from the other 2 movies. Definitely, like,
agreed. It was really cool too. It was a pretty crazy plot twist. Like, it was like, wait, what? Because although I watched the trailer, it was like a month ago, so I forgot completely. Like, I didn't understand what the deal was. So I'm like, so it was a good plot twist, 100%. And it reminded me, it was kind of reminiscent of that Kingsman style of fighting too.
Yes, definitely. That kind of long, like wide shots, tracking the action, like not,
kind of
like,
over dramatic and almost in a way, but not to the detriment of the fight, I'd say.
Yeah, like Edgar Wright's known for his quick cuts and stuff.
Yeah,
like, he really lets it go with the nice long take, seeing all the actions.
Yeah, he tracks it extremely well, despite the quick cuts, 100%.
Yes, well, they do cross hands with some robots, so to say.
Agreed.
So, the Good Companions is the... him and his pals are going along on the trail, and they finally find themselves in a space where they're really confused, and as you should be after, fighting guys with blue ink in them.
100%.
And the other 4 want to bail, but Gary wants to be the good companion here and carry on and kind of do it. And
idiot.
And the sign for this is 4 faces who are kind of sad and stuff, and then the one face, in Gary in this case, which is happy and smiling.
Very interesting.
Very thin-rooted.
Yeah.
This one. It's hard to... Well, there's different interpretations of these, but that's definitely...
For sure. This is the most Edgar Wright thing to ever Edgar Wright.
Yes. The Trusty Servant is when they meet the Reverend Green, which we first learned about in the intro of this movie, where a younger version of him appears.
Yeah.
And
that wasn't Pierce Brosnan, is it?
No, it wasn't Pierce Brosnan. Okay. This was the
Reverend Green, yeah.
Yeah, Reverend Green. Pierce Brosnan
was the teacher.
Yes, the teacher. And they meet their trusty servant, the Reverend Green, and he tries to buy some weed using a secret handshake.
Yeah.
Hey, you got any weed?
That was funny.
No, but please no one edit that out. And
RobCast advocates use of weed.
What?
Rob does weed. Josh appalled.
Bar number 7 is the Two-Headed Dog, where we meet the twins.
Yes.
And another amazing fight scene.
Yes.
I really wish they did more of this, because in this fight scene, they're fighting the twins, and they rip off both their arms, and then they come. Like, one of the twins get their arms ripped off. So they come back over the fence with feet on their legs, and it's just spinning and stuff.
Yeah.
I wish we had more kind of, like, crazy dismemberments and kind of, like, just crazy stuff. We have the giant kind of statue at the end. I wish we had kind of more crazy breaking the boundaries of kind of human robots.
Okay, you sicko.
No, but, like
no, but I was green. It was cool.
It wasn't just, like, punch, punch, kick, kick. It was... kicking with your arms.
No, I get it. It was a cool dynamic to the fight scene. In the fall, we'll watch Reanimator, which is kind of about this dude that It's kind of like a Frankenstein not parody, but it's about this dude that reanimates, like makes a body out of dead body parts and stuff. It's like a horror comedy, so
I'm up for that.
yeah, we can watch that. It's kind of cool.
Bar number 8 is the Mermaid. And on the side of this bar it is a red hat with 2 blondes either side, which represents the meeting of the marmalade sandwich.
Yes.
And
it's kind of tennis cue, but
yes. As they're so dubbed in the movie. Next we have the Beehive. And this is where we have probably the biggest, I would say, fight scene. It is that all-out bar fights where Andy, takes two stools. This actually we meet Pierce Brosnan.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yo, Andy was a beast.
Yeah.
Like, damn, this man's just mowing down monsters left and right or whatever, robots.
Rips open his shirt, takes 2 stools, and
like it was bananas. He was out of control.
Yeah.
It's like watching the Hulk.
Yeah, I love how Gary. It's such a to go back to Andy. I love how it's such a different kind of dynamic. Like you said, he's been kind of the bubbly monkey. He just went bananas.
It's crazy.
But I love how Gary's just still trying to drink his beer because
it's useless.
Yeah, I think he even refills it at a point because it's spilled.
Yeah, as I said in my notes, Andy was on fire.
Wow. This has been Joshua's notes.
Yeah, the robots are also pretty easily destroyable.
Yeah, but they regenerate.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say the same thing. Yeah, and it's you kind of have to make them that way too, especially for like to have humans pose any like credible threat, right? Mm-hmm. It's not a bad thing. It's just something I made a note of.
No, but they call it the Beehive because the robots are swarming in on the place and stinging any hope of getting out of the town alive. Anyway, the King's Head. After splitting up and sending... Oh, we didn't even mention her. Oliver's sister.
Patty Constantine? Considine?
Yes, I believe
wait, no, that's not the girl. It's the dude. Never mind.
I was about to say.
Rosamund Pike?
Yes, Rosamund Pike. What's her character name?
Snoop?
Snoop, yes. So after sending Snoop off in her car, they go to the King's Head... And they call it the King's Head because Gary bashes in his head to prove that he's not a blue person, robot blank.
Sam,
that's what it was.
Yeah.
So they send Sam off, and they meet up in the next bar at the King's Head, where Gary bashes his head in, and we see them all show off reasons not a robot. Gary shows off the tattoo that was mentioned earlier, but they said they could be drawn on, so he bashes his head in against the wall.
Yeah, he's a maniac.
Mm-hmm.
That was funny. Wait, why didn't he want to show his thing again? They had something that he was supposed to show.
I believe it was
a scar on his hand or something.
I believe it was Pete. Okay, basically all the injuries are because of Gary.
Yeah.
Like Pete got run over. Andy had middle finger and also I think one on his thigh from when he got stabbed.
Well, he had extensive surgery because of the car crash. So.
Yeah, because of the
No, but wait, what was the thing with Gary? He had something that he didn't want to show.
Remember.
It's fine.
Yeah, but moving on to the hole in the wall. I'd have been trouble figuring out why he was called this.
Oh, it was his arm, but he. I didn't even get that. Damn. Because when he's arguing with Andy, his sleeves are torn off, revealing bandages applied after a recent suicide attempt.
Oh.
So I guess he's more troubled than it seems, and he didn't want to show that. Interesting. I missed that when I watched the movie.
Yeah,
Thanks for
thank you. Our Lord and Savior.
Yeah.
No, but definitely, as all of his movies, you definitely see more and more of this rewatches. Like, it's a lot more deeper. You do see more of Gary and kind of these subtle tics and kind of the things that you don't really see in your first watch.
Agreed. Yeah.
Anyway, the next bar we have the hole in the wall. And
how many bars are there?
12.
I know that.
And I couldn't really decide. I couldn't figure out why it was called the hole in the wall. Then I remembered that the dude drove a car. Drove the car right through the wall. So it's pretty adeptly named, yes.
Yeah, 100%.
And the final bar, we have the World's End, which...
Wait, that's what the final bar's called?
Really? Yeah. Well, they quit. That's what the movie's called.
Wait, oh my god, yeah!
That's why it's called that.
That makes so much sense.
I completely missed that.
Yeah, me too.
The first 4 times I've seen this.
Edgar Wright's a genius.
We would have never got that. Thank you, random website. But that's really, what they call... It's the World's End. So, I think, and they really confront the kind of head of the blanks.
It's the world end, which makes sense.
Let's talk about the blanks for a minute. I as we mentioned before, I really kind of like their design. It's very different from anything that we've seen, and it's just like people filled with ink and with detachable limbs. They regenerate to a point because Oliver doesn't regenerate. No, he does regenerate the face, doesn't he? He gets his face cracked in the beginning.
He doesn't regenerate his face. Remember?
Because that's at the end. Because remember, Gary punches him out and he loses his face again?
Right.
He doesn't regenerate once the network's down.
Yes, agreed.
Mm-hmm. But the network is basically a intergalactic alien force coming to planet, taking pressure points all across the globe and assimilating into the culture by means of replacement and abducting people.
Right.
The way they get rid of the people is taking people influence and turning them into compost.
Yeah. It's interesting, too, because their plan is world domination, right? They want order in society. They think humans are unruly, so they're replacing them all with these blanks, right?
Yeah.
But then they say that they're like, oh, look, why do you think all this telecommunication stuff like the internet has boomed in this way? This was us. We like helped you so much. And once the network is down, society's kind of back in the dark ages almost.
Yeah, without any society. And the ending of this movie is crazy. Like, it hits the nail in the coffin. Like, Gary stays true to himself and says he wants to be free in the face of getting what he once had and stuff. With selective memories of his past life, he doesn't want to be told what to do. He doesn't want to be controlled. So he chooses freedom and freedom for the human race.
Yeah.
And, the world blows up.
Yeah, it's crazy. That was a pretty crazy end. It's pretty Shaun of the Dead-y, to be honest.
Yeah, kind of the invasion.
Yeah,
kind of running
like,
place to place.
Yeah, like these mindless things following them. The end where they kind of, I guess at the end, Shaun of the Dead, they don't really cause it, they get saved, but the zombies or blanks are all controlled, but they're still in society at the end.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's Hot Fuzz is definitely the odd one out in this kind of trilogy. They have a lot more comparison between the first two. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, like,
it's not a bad thing.
No, I'm not saying it is, but...
Why did you say it was a bad thing?
Sorry.
Rob, why do you hate this movie?
It's the worst movie I've ever seen, honestly. Just, it's horrible. Like, X-Men Dark Phoenix is even better.
Oh, damn, that's crazy. We're gonna get canceled.
Yeah, we're canceled for saying Dark Phoenix is better than any movie.
Okay, well, have you watched it?
No.
Yeah, so let's not jump the shark there.
Anyway, the end of this movie is completely crazy. As you said, they return to the Dark Ages. Andy's kind of telling the aftermath. They said that Gary's mom died, which I thought was funny.
Wow. Seeing the old people dying is funny?
No, because like Gary like...
Wow, I know that, Robert.
No, but I found that kind of a funny bit.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes.
I agree it's funny.
Nice. But we definitely have like... We see kind of that they all went back to organic and like farming. He got back together with his wife.
Sam and Steven are together.
So I'm gonna like chop that down. So listening to this, it was actually like a 5-minute but it was chopped down to like a nice crisp 10-second
It was 2 seconds. Can I not think, Robert? Can I not take some time to gather my thoughts and put forth a well-reasoned statement?
Do you want to have a well-reasoned statement about making well-reasoned statements?
Well, I believe that any well-reasoned statement is rooted in fact and logic. And I believe that through statements we can influence others and really be persuasive in the points that we put forth.
Good point.
Thank you.
But I feel like the aesthetic of the last part of the movie, it's very different from the rest of it. Like, it's very dark and gloomy, and
Agreed.
Blanks have assimilated itself into society, but it's very kind of Mad Max, especially when they go into the bar.
Yeah.
Blanks have become this kind of
ostracized.
Yeah, ostracized group that's just been punished by society. Like as I said, they kind of woke up and became lifeless kind of blanks, honestly. They had no real personality.
The name says it all.
Yeah, they retain selective memories. For instance, Oliver goes back to sign real estate.
Yeah. Because
people still need homes. And
I think that's definitely what would happen too. Like, humans would definitely discriminate against them and like abuse them because people are dumb. It's like, it's not their fault. They're they're humans that got like abducted and forced to be robots.
Yeah, well, in a time where there's no communication because all technology is destroyed, all you
Right.
know is that
That's true.
suddenly there's like this new race of people, blue people in them,
Yeah.
like blue blood, and there's stories about going around. This is what happened because Andy's telling a group of people who around a campfire, like this is what this is how stories get passed on. They get mutilated. They get history in this time where they can't record these stories. The stories are passed from mouth to mouth, and they're getting turned and they're getting changed to eventually blanks are evil, and that's the only thing that society counts in this thing.
Yeah, so that's an excellent point. It's interesting to see how the world basically functions in this post-apocalyptic world. I started thinking too, like, what would happen if we didn't have internet or anything? It'd be crazy.
We would automatically just all die.
Yeah, basically. I think anyone under the age of like 30 would just pass out. But yeah, no, it's pretty cool. Another interesting point is that bars and pubs are very present in all three films. It's like a very Edgar Wright-y thing. So
as well as like kind of British, like their fascination with like tea and alcohol.
Yeah, for sure. But it's kind of fitting that this last movie is basically based off a pub crawl.
Yeah, and I feel like the other two movies, like they're about kind of their gimmicks and not parody, but like. Especially Hot Fuzz is a parody of cop movies, and Shaun the Dead is a zombie movie. But this movie isn't a abduction, world-ending apocalypse movie. It's a pub crawl, and that's kind of the main plot of it. The abduction and kind of the robots and aliens is happening kind of in the background of that.
Yeah, pretty much. It's kind of funny. Yeah. And it's a good way of making these like big, large-scale ideas kind of fit into more of a contained plot arc and a contained movie as well.
Personally, I enjoy it that way because you still this overarching plot without it getting too crazy right from the get go. Like we get to really learn about these characters and their motivation stuff before we get into the crazy action. We get more time, but I would have liked to see, of course, more as we
for sure.
At this point.
And good point. That was actually one of the things I really liked about this movie compared to the other two. It's really more of an ensemble movie. Yeah. You get to really know the main 5 or 6 characters a lot. Or a lot more than in other movies, and it's a cool dynamic between them too.
Before the two musketeers get killed off.
Yeah,
great
for sure.
Speaking of wanting more and stuff, though, what would you say your World's End sequel would be? Because I have quite a doozy of one here.
Do you want to do Hot Fuzz sequels first or World End sequels?
Oh yes. Last episode we forgot to insert our Hot Fuzz 2 sequels, our reboots, whatever we want. For me, I think they should move from that into kind of more of a spy genre of sorts.
Ooh.
Like, cause I think they're small time cops, but Angel's gonna get kind of
small time cook.
Yeah, like if they're able to kind of push him out without him having a choice to being a sergeant in a small town, they can definitely pull him back into the CIA.
Right.
And then you take Danny.
Danny, yeah.
Angel and Danny, you put them in the spy world. They have all the cool cars and gadgets. You give them all this stuff, and it's kind of sort of like a Johnny English thing.
I like that.
Yeah,
for sure.
I feel like there's a lot of potential there, and like a lot of chance to like kind of pull off some of the tropes that spy movies kind of have, like maybe in an Austin Powers sort of way.
Yeah.
Like kind of making fun of how like James Bond is always seducing women, and it's like how it's crazy and unrealistic.
And doesn't he ask for like cranberry juice too? So instead of like shaken not stirred, it'll be cranberry juice.
Yeah.
From Hot Fuzz, isn't that what he asked for?
Yeah. Angel's like cranberry juice, shaken not stirred.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like I'm just gonna pour it if it's okay.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I think too that Edgar Wright's skill of making these big ideas on a small scale, that would be conducive to like a spy movie where you're facing like maybe a world-ending threat or something. Yeah. My idea was so basically Hot Fuzz 2. Christopher Angel or Nick Cage gets restless. He and Danny end up transferring to Scotland Yard. Scotland. Everything seems great. They're having like a lot of fun. They're really bonding with the officers. Everyone's serious about it, but not like that. But not like they're serious about it like Angel, but fun a bit like Danny.
It's a perfect marriage.
Yeah, it's perfect. They're having so much fun. It's the best thing ever. They're taking down crime. It's great. But they start to notice like little things that are off. And eventually they realize that the entire like Scotland Yard system is corrupt. they're taking bribes, they're letting government officials and others off with crimes, and their whole world like comes crashing down basically, and they have to continue to infiltrate Scotland Yard and take down the entire corrupt institution. Perhaps they make a few friends along the way, and there's this band of misfits that have to like, I don't know, release the news to the press or shut it down or end the corruption.
Okay, I feel that definitely could be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Like, kind of maybe pulling in from last movie, it's like, it isn't just the town, it's the entire pieces. Like, they're all in on this.
Exactly.
Like, it's like, okay, it's like Hydra. You cut off a limb, but the rest is still there.
Yeah, it's basically the original, but different.
Yeah. But kind of like taking up a notch, it's like everything's fine, except you really end the threat. It's a lot bigger than you ever imagined. I feel like that's a really good idea.
Yeah, thank you. So why don't you go first with your World's End
World's
sequel?
End. Dose.
Duh.
Yes, other languages. Basically, I want to kind of see a post-apocalyptic parody, like kind of Mad Max. Like something like... I want
Mad
to see, like,
Gary?
Yeah, Mad Gary. I want to see kind of a parody, because it's so interesting the world that they leave. All of these movies, especially Shaun of the Dead and this one, leave it in such an interesting kind of society and world, having these kind of blanks and stuff. Like, I want to see, weird, mash up together cars and having blanks as slaves and kind of maybe liberation, but also kind of making fun of, like, how, water and all these precious resources are being squandered, and maybe, like, kind of recreation of technology, because we didn't really get into it that much, but is technology gone in general, or is it just the understanding of technology? Is it just like a constant EMP that went off, or can we still create electricity by rubbing our feet on a carpet? Like, is it just our understanding of it?
That number one, that's nothing to do with technology, but I understand your greater point.
Electricity and stuff.
Right, that's a good point, because, it does raise some that's a great question to address, actually, in a sequel. Because, feel like it's pretty, people, it's not just the blanks that know how to do stuff.
But I want to see kind of like maybe a technology overlord who found a way to kind of reassemble technology and stuff, and people kind of flaunting to him. Kind of this post-apocalyptic, everyone has painted faces, kind of cult-like religion, just very basically a Fury Road sequel, because Fury Road's one of my favorite movies.
I have to watch that. I have to watch the original.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
But what's your World's End sequel?
So my World's End sequel, the last kind of sequel of all these films of the Cornetto trilogies that we're doing, my sequel is no sequel. Okay, these three movies are very good movies. They're nice, they're contained, they're cult classics. There's no need to make a sequel to any of these movies. Leave it as they are. They're good movies. If you want to make a movie, think of something new. Maybe come up with an original idea. Because if we keep piggybacking on movies of the past and past ideas and keep making these garbage sequels just created to make money, feeding off people's nostalgia, then we're eventually going to have no creativity. Hollywood's going to be dominated by 2 or 3 massive studios that keep just churning out different Toy Story and Marvel movies, and we're all going to die. You know why we're going to die? We're going to die because we have no creativity. We're going to die because we have no fun. And everyone's just going to be sitting down, lying down, breathing, with their eyes open.
It will truly be the world's end.
So and that's my sequel.
So basically, you didn't have time to come up with an idea, or you couldn't find anything cool?
No. This is my point.
No, but what I really like about Edgar Wright's films is that they're all original ideas, and there was supposed to be a new one this year, right?
Oh, was there actually?
I don't think it's very on the lines of anything he's done before. It's kind of I read something about kind of how he was going to be kind of a love story.
Last Night in Soho?
Last Night in Solo, yes.
With Anna Taylor-Joy from New Mutants.
Yes. Ooh! The movie we'll never see, yes.
Horror thriller set in London, inspired by movies such as Don't Look Now and Repulsion. Yes. 2021.
It's very interesting. Oh, so next year. Well, possibly pushed back because of...
It definitely was pushed back.
Dark Times.
They've been talking about this since 2019, so... Mm-hmm.
No, but I do think you have a point there. What I do really like about his kind of filmography and kind of his way of making films is that they're all original ideas, and they're all very abstract. Even though they might not all be the most cop movie or zombie movie, they're all different and they have a different spin. It isn't just the same story; it's a new way of telling the same story. It's very exciting. And I do agree that these movies are amazing and very special to me personally.
It's interesting too, kind of reading about or watching these Edgar Wright movies and looking back on Ant-Man, where he was supposed to direct, and he does have a credit as a as an I think both of his screenplay and story credits, as well as an executive producer credit, you can see some of his style in Ant-Man. I think he would have made a good Ant-Man movie.
Yeah.
It's very, the humor is still very Edgar Wrighty in a sense, and I think his like style of action with the quick cuts and stuff would have been very cool
I definitely
to see as
see
well.
a lot in Luis and kind of the way he is.
For sure.
That bleeds Edgar Wright. Like you can tell that he had something. I definitely feel like the action cuts are very Edgar Wright-ish to a point. Like the script, especially, because we do see a lot of elements, and we can only imagine what it would have been like if to see a heist movie in the Edgar Wright style with an Edgar Wright story.
You mean Baby Driver?
No, but
the worst movie ever.
no, but that's more kind of
just kidding.
Like that's like more of a kind of Ocean's 11 kind of. I feel like Baby Driver is more of a Fast and Furious-ish. I want to see like kind of more of a century-revolving heist. People, it's a different tone of the movie. Like kind of an Ocean's 11, people saying the plan.
I want to watch Ocean's 11.
You haven't seen Ocean's 11?
I don't know why I haven't. I
great.
think it's just because I don't watch movies.
Didn't I watch it with you?
No, I came while you were watching it, and I was like, I want to watch this.
And then you walked away.
I'll add it to the list. Okay, I have to add Ocean's 11 and The Social Network.
Oh yes, I definitely. Maybe we can do a mini episode on the Social Network.
For sure.
I definitely think it warrants a discussion.
Yeah, well, Quentin Tarantino said it was the best movie to be released like in the past 20 years or something.
It's about Facebook.
Yeah, it has good actors. It has Jesse Eisenberg, Andy Samberg. Yeah, sorry, Andrew Garfield. That's pretty much all I know. Yeah. Walt Disney's in it.
Wait, the guy's frozen body at the Disneyland for that movie?
Yeah, it's pretty impressive, actually. He was good.
And also Karen Filippelli from The Office.
Oh, is she in it?
She's a small role.
Hey, nice.
She's one of the legal lawyer persons.
Excellent. Okay, so not to get off track, but
should we
Roberts, the man, the myth, the legend.
Yes.
What have you been watching this week?
Oh, yes. I finished Space Force. I don't know if I mentioned that on the last podcast, but it was actually really good.
You liked it?
I liked it.
It's been panned by critics. People said it was awful.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know.
They said it wasn't funny.
I'm not more of a kind of laugh out loud, but I enjoy kind of the characters, and I just like maybe just Steve Carell, and I just love Steve Carell and Ben Schwartz, and kind of the cast is really good.
Cast was good. But
I do kind of see it because towards the end it's less of a comedy, it's more of a drama sort of thing.
Right.
But I do feel like the first 2 episodes are really good and really amazing. The second one, the first one ends with they launch the satellites, and basically a giant Chinese satellite detaches the wings. So the second episode is all the scientists are trying. Spoiler warning, by the way. All the scientists are trying to find ways to get it up, get the wings back attached. But Steve Carell's character decides the best plan is to get a space chimp to do a lunar walk and reattach.
Oh boy!
And just
I'm sure
chaos
that goes very smoothly.
I find the show really funny. Maybe just a certain different type of humor, but I actually really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Ben Schwartz is really good in it. I like his character. He's Joe Keery's dad.
Yeah, of course. Isn't he our cousin too?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're related.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what you've been watching this week?
Yeah.
Pretty much. I kind of forget what I've been watching. I watched Scream 2, actually. I'll watch it again with you. But it was pretty good. It was cool. It was basically the first Scream movie again. So that kind of took the edge off a little bit. I feel
like that. It's if that more than any other franchise can kind of have a legacy, because the Scream character itself is something that you can pick up in any Halloween store and become. At
a cottage, I was canoeing, or a friend was canoeing, and he saw a Scream mask basically on a pole on somebody's dock. It was super cool. But yeah, no, it's not bad.
I did want to mention a few more things though. I watched Castaway, really liked it.
Oh yeah.
Tom Hanks goes crazy on an island, talks to a volleyball, great. But also for Community fans out there,
I finished.
Yes, Joshua finished Community. Definitely a Community podcast will come in the works. Just let's talk Community.
Season 6 was actually decent.
I want to talk about TV shows more. We haven't really gone into TV shows yet.
That's true. We've watched a lot of the same TV shows too.
Yeah.
There's probably a few things that we like have watched
Yeah,
together.
like once I finish Daredevil, we'll definitely talk about that.
Yeah.
There's a few other things
Office,
that I wanna talk
Friends,
about. Yeah,
How Much
definitely.
Mother. But yeah, season 6 was good. It was kind of like seasons like 7 to 9 of The Office after Steve Carell left,
Mhm.
and it was different but still good.
Yeah. But anyway, for those who remember, I believe it was a season 3 episode. The video game Journey to the Center of Hawthorne is actually a real thing that you could play. Yes, I know. For those who have no idea what I'm talking about, basically in an episode, Pierce's dad dies, and in his death, the only way that Pierce can get his will is to win a video game, an 8-bit track video game. And I play it. I'm about maybe a third way through it, and it's actually like I'm really enjoying it. It's really fun. They tie in so many references to the TV show, like Pierce's cult is in there. They make reference to the KFC spaceship and just everything under the rainbow. Like, if you're a Community fan, you're going to want to play this game just for kind of the nostalgia of seeing this episode and seeing all the hidden secrets and stuff and making little Ovid babies.
Yeah. Oh, I have to get on that too. It looked pretty cool from what I've seen as well. Mm-hmm. But yeah, there's a little nugget for all our Community fans out there. Yeah, for all our Community fans. That goes out to you.
From our community to yours.
Yes. For the RobCast community.
The RobCast community.
For our family. Mm-hmm. All of us and our listeners, we're just one. When you listen to the podcast, just imagine I'm holding your hand and we're taking you on a long journey just with us.
Yes, on a nice canoe ride. And then we see Scream Mask and then we run away.
Run away in the water because we're on a canoe.
Yes. Good times. Anyway, Josh, thank you for listening to today's podcast. If you're still listening after this. We want to thank you all for tuning in and giving us a little listen of the ears. We hope you enjoyed our wrap up of the Cornetto Trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
It's been really fun. I love these movies, and I will. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, and remember Twitter at RobCast Podcast 1. We should definitely do this at the beginning because people definitely don't listen to this point. Email robcastpodcast1@gmail.com. Anchor RobCast Podcast. Send us money. Send us messages, audio, video.
And YouTube coming eventually.
Coming eventually. Tell us what you want us to watch and talk about next. Because literally, if you say anything to us, we will do it. We're your slaves. We have no one else telling us what to do. So.
We are blanks.
Yeah, pretty much.
Next week, though, we are possibly looking into a Taylor Swift kind of discussion.
Mm-hmm.
All things Taylor.
Yeah, Tay-Tay.
Yeah,
Miss Americana.
Yes, we'll be tailoring to Joshua's personal likings here.
Hey. Yeah, so we'll see. Ideally. Mm-hmm. Excellent.
Yeah. So thank you for listening, and have a good one, guys.
Rob!